Hey there, I'm Leo, and this is.
Gauge.
We are going to be working on a fighting game, and this is going to be a video series detailing that creative process of making a fighting game from the very first idea down to the point where it's like, alright, we're ready to ship this thing. And ultimately, today's episode is going to be about going over the concept as a whole. So that means a little bit of everything today. And from there, we're going to be discussing sort of the more in-depth concepts of a fighting game, such as its mechanics, its character, its story, and lore, all that good stuff. So, before we started rolling, we discussed the concept of making a fighting game. Now, for a bit of context on us two, we're both gamers. Would you say that?
In the non-derogatory sense.
I think there's no version where it's non-derogatory.
Okay, well then we
It's
accept
like saying
our...
you're an anime fan.
Or a vegan.
Or, well, yeah, kind of. Or like a furry. Like, none of those things are inherently bad, but it's
Right,
just like
but-
they come with the negative connotation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's okay to accept that.
All right.
And we're gonna channel that bad energy into good energy and use it to make something.
But we're both fighting gamers. We
Yeah.
play a lot of fighting games. Our origins, I believe, are both starting with Super Smash Brothers,
Yeah.
and that's where we really sort of hit our swing from our childhood into like our gaming career.
Yeah.
And from there, obviously, I have a lot of experience with the Guilty Gear line of games and anime fighters in general, and you have a lot more experience with the Street Fighters.
Yeah, mainly Street Fighter since Smash Bros.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we're I'd say about the intermediate levels for those video games. You know, in our friend groups, I definitely say we're the best players out of them. We understand fighting games and we play fighting games to an impressive degree. And so I think when talking about creating this, it's important we detail where we're coming from.
Yeah.
So, like we just said, my background is really in Guilty Gear. That's Accent Core, Zerd Revelator, and of course now Strive. And your kind of points of understanding are...
Yeah, so specifically with Street Fighter 2, you know, the big one, the main one that everyone knows, is definitely the
Turbo
first.
Edition or Turbo
The
Deluxe Edition?
SNES version
Oh, wow.
was actually the first version,
That's
the main version. Actually, a SNES controller was the first controller I ever played
Really?
Street Fighter on.
Mine was probably
So
like a leapfrog.
what?
Like a leapfrog?
For what game?
Like a leapfrog.
Are you talking about just controllers in general?
Yeah.
I
Anyway.
was gonna ask you which fighting game you've played on a leapfrog,
Anyway.
because my first controller would have been more like a Wii remote. I think I was born with one in my hand.
That's not true.
So
That would have been very
easiest remote to give birth to, by the way.
That's
but,
alright.
anyway.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
I mean, the NES controller is really small and light.
that one has edges.
So does the... I guess the
Not-
the condom.
Yeah.
The Wii condom.
Oh, I wasn't really.
The Wiimote condom.
Nope. Yeah. Okay. Oh. That's a really bad condom because it doesn't even fully envelop it.
What's it's called?
Well, I mean, if you're you.
No, if you're the internet as a whole, and also Shigeru Miyamoto.
I would like to see him saying that live.
Right.
And not mistranslated.
Anyway.
So yeah, SNES controller. That's what I used. That version of Street Fighter. That's the one I played on. I played that from a young age, and then also Smash Bros, which, you know, for the sake of what we're talking about, is a fighting game.
Well. Oh shit. We're talking about Smash Bros. For way too long.
It's okay. No.
What do you think is the best fighting game you've played?
To me, Third Strike nails every aspect to me.
Yeah.
To me, it's my favorite aesthetic of any fighting game. I think its presentation is just like, I absolutely love it. Sound design, visuals, theming, and then of course the characters all just fitting together. Mechanic wise, it's amazing. It's my favorite looking fighting game. I absolutely love older like pixel graphics. I don't love as much the modern Street Fighter look. I don't hate it as much as others, but I do miss the pixel style graphics. So Third Strike, I think the theming is really important in fighting games, and then also just feels good to play, and it feels like an arcade game, and that's a big thing I like in fighting games.
Yeah, my favorite fighting game, and the one I think is the best, is probably Guilty Gear Xrd. I think it's just an apex of visual design, of gameplay mechanics. It looks good, it feels good, it has so much love and care packed into every little inch of every little character. The music is incredible, all that good stuff.
So it's clear that we both very much care about aesthetic and music and presentation.
Yeah, and I think it's good that we are coming at this as two very different fighting game fans, for sure. And I think ultimately, ideally, we'll end up creating a fighting game that appeals the most it can to the both of us.
Right.
When talking about creating a fighting game, we need to start with the opening concept. Off mic, we talked a little bit about how when we think about Street Fighter, the idea of the World Championship, or Guilty Gear and its crazy lore, Mortal Kombat, that's another tournament, King of Fighters, I think, is a tournament. What other fighting? Tekken was also a tournament,
really?
I think. Tekken was a tournament as well, yeah. Mostly tournaments.
And then there's Smash Bros.
Then there's Smash Bros. I mean, Dragon Ball Fighter Z is that one's Dragon Ball.
It's Dragon
Ball
that one's
characters.
based on
Blaze Blue, again, weird, crazy lore.
anime stuff.
Yeah. I don't remember. I think the original Guilty Gear was a tournament too. I'm pretty sure it was, yeah.
Really?
I'm actually sure it was.
Which would make sense because Street Fighter was its main influence on
yeah.
So it would make sense
I
that
think
they were like
1,000,000% was.
anime tournament.
But in any case, our concept thus far, it's like underground fighting, but not underground at all anymore.
It's like, right, it kind of feels underground in like what they're doing, but it's actually like what the entire world does.
We've made high-class cockfighting.
What do you mean?
Like when they put the chickens in the ring to fight each other, and they bet on which chicken's gonna win.
Oh, okay.
What did you think I meant?
It's a weird way to call it.
That's what it's called.
Yeah, I just haven't heard that term used in that way.
I'm gonna put a visual up here, and it's not gonna be great.
No, don't.
Editor me, don't forget to put that one in there. I could have said dog fighting. You would have understood
That's what
that one.
Like, why would you? You're at a board meeting for like a corporation, like a business. You're like, oh, this is what I'm gonna use to compare.
They all. I assure you, every member of that board knows what cockfighting is.
That's why I'm not up there.
That is. You're not a businessman.
That's why I'm in here right now.
That's why you're here. You wouldn't take the dinner with Jay-Z.
No, I wouldn't, bro. I would fold on that offer. I would absolutely fumble that offer.
Anyway, we basically made that. Is this idea, but here's the catch. The whole game has a casino aesthetic. So we're talking about cars and suits. We're talking about dice and roulette tables. We're talking about reds, blacks, golds, greens, everything in between. And the concept of the game is sort of this idea that gambling is legalized everywhere. It is the main sport of the international world. And all these fighters are in this operation where people are betting on victors and losers and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the main crux. That's the idea, is that there's the game, all the stages are these different eccentric casinos. Right. All the fighters have something to do with the sort of theming, and there is a lot we can do here because we kind of have that option to go with this whole world and create a bunch of different concepts that originate around that sort of 1950s to 60s-esque idea. But also, I definitely think it's a futuristic world, for sure.
Right, and also not it being like casino aesthetic is the only aesthetic, but like casino aesthetic.
No, it's the backing.
Right, and then everything kind of fits into it, and we have like kind of different parts of the world kind of fitting in with that aesthetic by also being its own thing,
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, off of this, we had this idea that, it just all falls into line. Like, it's unbelievable to me that this fighting game hasn't been made, if not already conceptualized, but the idea of a fighting game with a cast of 8 characters And for this casino-themed fighting game, it's the 7 deadly sins as each character, and us mapping an archetype to each sin.
Right.
I mean, to start there, why don't we pull that up, right? Let's pull up the little chart of the 7 deadly sins and put that up there, and then we can assign archetypes to them.
Go to the top image. If this isn't detailed enough, it may...
You think this has them all? Oh, is this all of them? Oh, damn, we're gonna have to translate these.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, but it's like, it is them, but it's all the, like... It's the...
It's already giving me an idea of a cool-looking character select screen.
Oof, dude, are you kidding me? This is what we're working with. Let's actually take this right now. Like, let's put this in the Photoshop file. Let's make sure we have a layer up. Yeah, we do.
Yeah. This is kind of a general thing too. Is I like the important note of like making in this case specifically a character select screen, one that's unique but also still like intuitive. You know, I always like imagining something unique where it's not just like here's the 8 characters in boxes.
Yeah.
You know, like but it's still intuitive to like control the menus and stuff, but also something unique so that it stands out and you don't remember it just as another game with the exact same layout.
Absolutely, you know? with 8 boxes next to each other.
And the character portraits when you go over them, you know, and it's like, okay, I mean, that's easy to understand, but you kind of want something memorable that's also easy to understand, so that's definitely a good balance.
Okay, wow. Photoshop had a moment.
Thanks, Photoshop.
You cool?
We were gonna sponsor you. We were gonna have you as a sponsor, but now we're not gonna do that. So
you think we don't have anything? We have nothing. What do you mean we're gonna have you as a sponsor?
They were gonna fund us from the start. They were that confident in our. We emailed them about 20 minutes ago.
Where's the opacity? That's what I'm looking for here. There it is. All right.
It's always a good noise.
Yeah. All right.
Opacity is.
There it is.
Now at 50.
So 7 deadly sins. We assign archetypes to them. We create characters about them. They all fit in with this sort of gambling aesthetic, this casino vibe. And I think we have something really strong there. I mean, easy gold vein. Again, it's surprised me that such a thing doesn't already exist.
Right, because 7 Deadly Sins is already like an idea of like...
Yeah, people love love the casino aesthetic. People love demons and stuff.
These are fun.
People love demons.
Yeah.
People love them.
Absolutely.
Helltaker.
They love crazy.
That's a video game with demons.
If it has hell in the name, it probably has demons in it.
Well, okay. Sure. Helldivers.
Probably has demons in it.
Doesn't.
Oh. I was... Okay. Really?
Yeah. There's, people are all rage about the Vizipop shows.
I don't know what that is.
Hell of a Boss and Has Been Hotel.
Oh.
Yeah, people love those.
Yeah, they do. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, they're head over heels over them.
It's true. You ever played Cuphead?
I did.
That is a
love
game
that game.
Uses casino
Devil.
aesthetic.
Love
with
casino.
the devil.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Bazinga. It's a recipe for success, evidently.
Yeah.
And so I think we roll with it. Bellatro. People love that game.
I don't know what that is.
It's a poker game.
Oh, okay.
But it's baller.
Yeah.
I haven't played it. I should.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
A good note with this is that obviously it's not just going to be their whole thing is that they just are the 7 deadly sins. It's more like they're all derivative of the 7 deadly sins.
I just thought you ever seen the theory that all the SpongeBob characters represent the 7 deadly sins?
Oh yeah, there's a thing with this kind of for a lot of different like cast of characters.
Yeah.
Not the anime.
Not the anime.
It amazes me that it still pulls it up.
Yeah, I want this thing.
But with SpongeBob.
Oh, this is gluttony and greed across from each other.
That's good.
That's good.
This is also like an interesting character select screen, is it? What is that? Okay. Oh my God.
I feel bad. No, shut up. I feel really bad. Oh, you shouldn't laugh.
Well, Balloons is on here too.
But look, people love this idea.
Oh yeah.
People adore this idea. I mean, they're head over heels for it.
It's a fun. I don't know. It's just a fun set of characters. Yeah, look. I think.
Wow. Wow.
Why is that Lust? Why is Lust the glue gunner?
That's interesting, because it's like I'm not gonna say that.
I don't. But why'd they pick the
Probably
toxic
the
route?
Quincy's pride.
Why that makes sense though, because he's so prideful.
Where's the more
Yeah, his envy is.
This is the only one. Okay,
Wrath,
these two
greed.
check out.
I don't really know sloth.
This one doesn't check out.
Gluttony,
for
I
me.
guess the potions are supposed to be the consumable thing. This is interesting for a character select screen.
Yeah, let's rock with this.
This kinda
I don't
thing.
like that Wrath is in the middle of it.
Right, but yeah.
So let's maybe
Yeah.
find one. Like I like this, but I don't know
Why is Wrath? Is Wrath the central one?
I think Wrath or no.
Is
Wrath
that a thing?
is-
To have Wrath is the central one, or is that just a thing that these all?
I
share
think
for
that's
some
just a
reason?
thing that they all share. I don't know.
know if that's necessarily actually a thing from the. Actually, well, if you go like this is more
Oh,
like.
there's the fucking wheel again.
Well, this is
got
6
the-
and no, this is 8. This is 7 around a middle
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not the anime is actually in the title. of
Not
one.
the anime. Wow, I feel like we're getting a lot of the anime.
We're kind of getting a. I mean, it's finding the keyword anime in your search result.
Despite requesting not have 7 heads of heaven.
I don't really think Google's capable of receiving commands like not this. You know.
You think?
I think it just takes keywords and then is like, here are images
Well,
related to your.
obviously it does.
Well, yeah, and so it's not going to be like, oh, not the anime. It means don't bring up things related to.
All right, but this like I like this idea, right?
Obviously not exactly this, but it's like this just gives us.
Right, it's
yeah.
kind of a thing to go off of
Yeah.
conceptually.
Mhm.
So, and I mean, we have this thing here to
Right.
actually work off of. So let's kind of cook off of that. I'm right. So let's revisit the idea as a whole and just sort of lay it out all on the table.
Mhm.
Gambling / casino aesthetic game. It's about these fighters who people are betting on to get money because gambling is just such a prevalent thing.
Yeah.
All the fighters represent in some form the 7 deadly sins, just sort of as a cute thing. Maybe they're demons, maybe they're not actually demons.
I think definitely having it more as like a.
Yeah, it's more
It's
like
a reference. Like you don't
yeah.
necessarily immediately see it. And
They're
you're like,
in allusion to the 7 deadly sins.
You don't
rather
necessarily
than-
specifically list. Oh, this is pride. You know, it's just like you can see them, and then if they're well designed enough, you can already be like, oh, I can tell which one that is, and
Yeah.
you kind of catch on. The
But also,
idea.
we
Yeah.
might entirely turn around on that idea.
That's
So
true. That's not a set in stone thing.
that's how this works.
Yeah.
That's the creative process, baby. So, I mean, let's get cooking. So when talking about this game, we're kind of going to visit a lot of things. We are going to visit the characters, the concept as the whole, the system mechanics, like how combos are going to work and feel, you know, universal mechanics, like how much do we want this game to be about the combo?
Right.
Because that's an important question.
How much are we taking from other fighting games?
How much, right, because all fighting games take so much from every other fighting
Right.
game. And, I mean, at the end of the day, when putting this entire thing together, we are gonna have to figure out a lot.
For sure.
So that's why we're breaking these apart into concepts. So let's list some things to go over concept-wise. We obviously have characters, right?
Yeah.
We have characters. We have what? The gameplay, right? That's
Gameplay.
those tie together though. This is stupid. This is a bad idea.
Okay.
I mean, we have characters, we have gameplay, we have story / lore, we
Yeah.
have all of that nitty gritty about the game. So, what do you want to work on first here?
Either characters or kind of going into more what we were talking about with gameplay and the whole
Yeah.
gambling thing, and I guess we haven't talked a lot about gameplay, but I mean, should we talk about our idea of like
Right, that's a tough thing. Is
The
how
way
do we
that-
figure out gameplay without knowing it? Right.
Mhm.
Is how do we sort out the way a meter should work or super should
Right.
work without seeing the characters for ourselves?
Does it make more sense to have a character moveset idea and then go into system mechanics?
Yeah, I think we need to make our Ryu
You know?
and Ken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're right, because a lot of times the system mechanics are kind of based on the style of the game,
Right.
you know? And so once you have a characters, then you have even more of a style, and then you can decide what makes sense for these
So-
characters to be doing.
Controversial a little bit.
Okay.
Not really, but I think we should have a Soul and Kai styled duo
Okay.
instead of a Ryu and Ken style duo.
So how is that different?
So they're both both Soul and Kai are quote unquote Shotos, but they are so different.
Okay.
Right? They both have Shoryukens, they both have fireballs, but they're both very, very different characters.
Are you talking about the difference between that and then Ryu and Ken being very similar to each
right,
other?
they're incredibly
'Cause
similar.
I think Ryu and Ken being similar to each other is much more of just a byproduct of how Street Fighter 1 and 2 existed.
No,
I don't really think
absolutely
that's not really a decision that they were like, we want our two main characters to
No,
be
yeah.
super similar. That
It's
was just
Ken
because
is a
of
clone character.
exactly. And so
So I think our first two should be Shotos. Right, like our first guy, or at least our first guy, he's gotta be a Shoto. Right, this is the guy. This is the Ryu.
you want your main character to be the easy one.
Yeah.
Easy one.
This is the quote unquote face of the game.
Intro character.
And so when we get cooking on that, I mean, obviously the sin of greed, right?
Right, because greed is kind of the central idea of this world. Gambling
I'm gonna draw this circle.
with money, greed, it all kind of comes together.
Right.
There was that other image of like, you know, the devil was in the middle of it.
Yeah,
That one had 7 sections.
Oh, that one was
defined,
baller.
and then
We
the
should
middle one could be like the
I'm
boss
gonna have
character.
to
You know?
redo this entire thing.
I know.
When talking more about this greed character, right? Obviously, we kind of want the concept to play into the character itself. That one's a gimme, right? Now, what does that mean?
Right. If you're talking like aesthetic, what he does, gameplay, mechanics.
Oh wow, this is gonna be really crunchy.
Oh,
When I stretch it
no.
out. This is gonna be so crunchy. Oh god.
Oh, could you make it any better?
Oh goodness.
Wait, the image on Google was not that small, was it not? Why did it copy to?
It's 500. This is 5,000.
This is a tier list.
Are you for real?
Visit.
Okay, well let's maybe zoom in on this then. And
Oh, look.
yeah, let's
That
just
works.
zoom in
That
really
works.
close. All right, it's less crunchy now.
Oh, this is what. Oh, this shows the animals. This is huge because like pig is gluttony. We obviously don't have to have direct animal references, but I think having like.
I don't think these are the animals because I don't see a lion. For
What do you mean?
pride.
There's the snake. Is
That looks like a
well he has like a lizard because he
honor.
has. Okay, wait. Lion was there's like an eagle.
There's a
The
cat
peacock
here.
is accurate. Is this supposed to be?
What are the?
No.
This is pride. This one here is pride.
Yes, pride is the peacock.
Yeah.
Maybe cat is also lion. You know.
This one looks like it might be envy.
Well, no, that's sloth because he's sleeping. Is he not?
This one's oh no, here's rat.
Ah, wrath is the dog. Okay, I guess that kind of makes sense. And pig is obviously gluttony. This is like more like a lizard, but that's that one was supposed to be
Fuck
envy.
is this?
Why is he
envy?
writing?
It probably
Um,
says so like right here.
I don't know what the
This
bird
one's
is.
lost. That's goat. That one checks out.
Oh,
This is
so I
this
do
greed.
like
This one's greed.
Oh,
Because he's like miserly and he's pinching
interesting that
pennies.
a bird. Interesting. I do like the animal references to a point. Like I don't like we obviously don't have to make it like the main focus, but I think like it's cool to kind of have like envy has some snake influence or like the peacock patterns are kind of cool.
What are?
you
Let's
know?
see. Let's look at what the animals. What the
right
they
they
are.
list them.
Toad, avarice, snake, envy, lion, wrath, snail, sloth, pig, glutton, goat, lust, peacock, pride. Oh, I was wrong.
Goat is lust. Oh, snail is sloth. Pig is gluttony. Isn't
Yeah.
it funny that sloth is not the one for sloth?
Yeah.
I think sloth. The animal is probably named after the word. Do you think? It had to have been.
I don't know.
It had to have been.
I don't
I
feel
think,
like
I
that's
feel like
true.
the animal was named after.
I don't know.
I feel like sloth
don't
as a
think
word
that's true.
existed as a word to mean like slow or lazy, and they saw here's an animal that moves sluggishly. We're gonna name it sloth.
No, I feel like the sloth was called a sloth.
No, I think the word came before
All
the
right.
concept of the. Anyway, what is avarice?
That's greed.
That's greed. Okay, and the toad is greed. Is
Yeah.
you know.
Toad's greed. Let's see if there's like if there's anything else that we can really pull from. I mean, there's obviously the demons that are associated with them, right? I don't know if they're here, maybe. I've got no clue.
I'm probably gonna read up on a bunch of these.
Yeah,
Between the next one, I'm probably gonna become familiar with like
do way more research on these.
Yeah.
So that we can really come at these with like, all right, let's rock.
Have you seen Full Metal Alchemist?
No.
You ever heard that show uses the 7 deadly sins?
Is it really?
Straight up to the point where literally 7 of the characters are called the 7 deadly sins.
Dude, people love the 7 deadly sins.
Yeah,
Dude,
absolutely.
they love them.
Absolutely.
They adore them. They want them so
I
bad.
I think the depictions in that show are actually pretty
People
good.
are just fascinated with them, dude.
Absolutely. It's just like a way to, like, when you have like a category of things, you know.
I guess like
You know what I mean?
zodiacs and stuff.
Yes, people like labels and like types of things. That's why people like zodiacs. I
That's
think, too.
an interesting thing for you to say.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Oh, here's another Bloons TV
Wow, this
one.
is hilarious. Okay, Wrath is why he was Lust before.
Envy's no, he
No.
was Envy.
Oh, Lust was the freaking Sloth is the engineer, which is an interesting.
I like that Quincy's still. Oh, because nothing gets past his bow.
Bro, he's very proud of that.
Greed.
Oh, that makes more sense. Why was the banana farm? Why was the bank not greed? Gluttony is still the potion, the alchemist.
Yeah. Right. Moving on.
This is
People just love these guys.
right. It's like I said. I think people like
I just love them.
labels, categories. You know.
All right. So starting with greed, let's
yeah.
look up the literal definition of greed.
No, in all caps.
All
We're
caps,
passionate.
because I'm intense, selfish desire for something, especially wealth, power, or food. What
See,
the fuck?
isn't that
is
funny?
gluttony?
That right? Gluttony is like a type of greed, essentially. It feels like.
Right, but gluttony has to be a different thing, right?
Right. I guess jump. You know.
It can't just be like a synonym. No.
Greedy or
indulgence.
excess.
It could be indulgence.
Okay.
Like, because that's what I think. Like, I think that's what they mean by gluttony.
You think more
It's
than
like
just,
indulgence.
more than just food.
Obviously, yeah.
Right.
It's not just about being piggish. It's about indulging in things.
Okay.
Whereas greed is to hoard, gluttony is to
Right.
indulge.
Greed is power. Gluttony is like pleasure.
Yeah.
In a way, like
that's
you
great,
want
yeah.
a huge amount of this thing that gives you pleasure. Whereas greed is like, I want this thing that makes me a powerful.
Yes,
person.
exactly. Right. Greed, like gluttony is drugs. Greed is the money from the
Right,
drugs.
Right.
Bazinga.
Oh, that is good because the casino aesthetic, gluttony. Absolutely.
Yeah, nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there we go.
Being in more like.
So
yeah.
this I mean I like it.
this is really funny.
I'm a fan of this guy here.
I love old. I love old artwork
I
depictions
like his
this.
He is like face.
Wow.
I love his DreamWorks face.
I like the older depictions of the devil make him a lot more
He's
ugly and
he's
like
goblin.
mean.
He's a
Like,
goblin.
right. He's not supposed to look appealing. It's interesting. I feel
Well,
like,
I think this is dude. Christianity lore is weird.
right.
I don't think this is the devil. I think this is like
Oh,
Satan.
really? Oh, there's multiple.
Because
right.
there's like Lucifer, who's supposed to look like an angel.
Beelzebub. There's a lot of
Yeah,
demons.
Satan's a different guy.
Right. Which is right. And then people, but nowadays it's like devil, Satan, Lucifer,
Yeah, all the
synonyms,
same thing.
You know.
Which is weird. I don't know how that works, and I don't want to
Interesting to make that
works.
distinction.
You know, mankind knew they could not change society, so instead of
So
reflecting
instead-
on themselves, they blame the beasts.
And the beasts in this case are different.
Heaven.
demons. Just kidding.
Or hell. Heaven or hell. Let's rock. All
Go for it, man! We're gonna get the Street Fighter Alpha 3 announcer for this game. I'm just kidding.
You think he's still alive?
I hope so. He's awesome.
Ooh.
He's my favorite announcer in anything.
I don't like that none of these have symmetry. Alright. Greed.
Greed.
So there are Ryu.
Right. Go
Fireball,
back to the definition.
Shoryuken. Looking back at our definition of greed.
Intense.
Selfish desire for something, especially wealth or power.
Right. Fully, like, all about the self, but not in like the way that.
So the way I
Pride
feel
is,
is this
but-
should really, like, it should be so bad guy-ish, where it's like this guy, it's not really a shodo in like the honest traditional sense. He's got something to him. Like I feel like he should be pretty rush-downy, very risk-reward, right? Like he gets in here, he wants, you're constantly vying for it. You know when people say like greed at a streamer, when they get too big for their britches.
Okay. So this is like a type of guy where he doesn't know when to
He's going all in.
You know,
He's going all in.
He's never
He's greeting.
right. He's not thinking super.
Yeah, dude. The more we talk about it, I really do imagine Wario. Like Wario is greed. Mario is gluttony.
I want this thing. I want to get it. I'm gonna do what I need to get it. I'm not gonna be like, he's just like really just the reward.
So gluttony, or greed, which I believe this guy is our Shoto.
Yeah.
Is our pseudo Shoto.
Like he's counting money or something. By Shoto, do you mean more like the main character?
No, I mean fireballs,
Shoryukens. Actually, like the moveset.
Like not only is our let's denote main character Shoto, Rushdown or Brawler? Rushdown.
What's the difference?
Brawlers are more so bullies, whereas rushdowns are all about like, I'm on you.
Right.
I'm there.
Rushdown is aggressive.
I'm mixing you up.
And
I'm fast. I'm here. I'm hanging out.
I mean, it makes sense for the greed guy to be like,
Rushdown.
He's aggressive. He's fast, and he's like, he's mean.
Rushdown. I think Shoto/Rushdown, and that just makes me think that our gluttony guy here, they're the rival, and they're Shoto/Brawler. Maybe they should be true Shoto.
Really? Not grappler for this guy?
For gluttony?
Yeah.
Sloth feels more like a
grappler. Oh no, you're right. We made that distinction. You're right. You're absolutely right. I think you're right.
Shoto. Maybe true Shoto? Do you feel true Shoto?
I think so. I definitely see, if it's between these two, I definitely see.
Okay, well, I also don't know how I feel about Rushdown. I'm just gonna write alternative Shoto.
Okay.
Like in true Guilty Gear fashion.
Right, because I guess then we kind of come think about Wrath and...
Right. Alright, so we have two Shotos. Sloth. Obviously, this is our
That's
grappler.
Our grappler. Yeah. Big body. We have a couple ideas, but yeah, absolutely the grappler. Oh, also, you know what we didn't... I don't know how relevant this is, but what types of characters we like playing?
Oh,
we have a history of? I think that's
something good to talk about, is... our bias is really important. This feels like a conversation for the characters episode.
Okay.
But it is good to say, we're obviously going to have bias towards the types of characters we like.
Right.
Nobody likes zoners.
I think zoners can be very interesting.
Yeah.
I think JP in Street Fighter 6 is really cool.
All right. He is.
He's cool.
That's true. He is. He's a very cool zoner. I like Johnny.
I think zoner. Obviously, we're making like a base roster.
Yeah.
There's gonna have to be a zoner in
some
sense.
To be a zoner.
We're just gonna be very particular in how we make this not like a, I'm thinking about like Smash Bros.
Yeah.
Zoner Snake being a very like.
No, yeah, he sucks.
We don't want a campy zoner. I like zoners who are like they're controlling. The battlefield.
Like Venom.
Right, like Venom. To me, that's also how JP feels, where he's like, he's mixing things up, trying to get you.
All right, so we got Wrath, Pride.
Oh, do you want to mention which
Lust
characters you play, just vaguely, or do you want to?
Yeah, I mean, I like brawlers. I like people who bully. I like to hit hard, hit fast. I'm also a big fan of grapplers. Love my big bodies, big hits, big fellows. But I just love characters who just swing fast and hit hard.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I would say I am the even bigger focus of the big bodies.
Yeah.
In every single game I've played, every fighting game I've played, my main has been one of the biggest characters, because I just like high damage. I like getting reads. I like predicting things. I don't necessarily like super flashy combos, or like I like mixing up and getting reads and reading my opponent. I like it when I fully understand my opponent, and I will just punish them for that.
Baller.
For understanding them. So, Grappler is definitely mine.
Yeah, so Grappler on Sloth. We still have Lust, Wrath, Envy, Pride. Envy feels like Rushdown. Like true Rushdown.
In the... Not Wrath?
What does Wrath feels more like a brawler.
Like? Okay.
Wrath
I'm trying to think
like
if the zoner is a big one that's weird to me in this list, and I'm thinking Pride as a zoner makes sense.
Well, yeah, because we talked about them being like a stance character.
Right, and kind of being like prideful, like I don't want you near me or something.
And I mean, when you
or,
talked
like,
about control of the field,
right,
pride
wants control.
Bazinga.
Wants,
Or no, maybe that's lust though.
Mm,
No, because lust is come here.
look up the
Lust,
definition of
come
lust.
here.
I want to see the
Get over here.
right lust. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Very strong sexual desire.
Passionate desire for something.
Strong desire. It's just desire.
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 You want a thing, which is why that makes more sense to me of like playing in with like the other person. Like pride wants you like wants control and wants you to be kind of away from them, whereas lust is like, you know.
No, I mean, yeah, pride.
You
I talked about my pride idea, right? That sort of stance-changing concept
Right.
of a character that starts out resembling an angel,
Mhm.
becoming a devil over the course of the game.
Mhm.
It feels good. Zoner.
I think zoner for pride. And with that stance changing,
Yeah.
I think that's an interesting point. A way to actually balance the zoner is you could kind of make it so like if you're, are you imagining like it starts out in an angel as the match progresses?
Well, I'm thinking Venom. Venom sets up balls so that he can get in on you and destroy you. So that he can set up more balls to get in on you and destroy you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I'm thinking of a character who's all about setting things up and then getting brutal and bloody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wrath, lust, envy.
I
I said rush down for envy. How do we feel about
any
that?
three of these could really be rushed out in some way, but I think envy, because we've had our little idea for envy,
Yeah.
and well, besides rushdown, what are the other like main archetypes we want to hit?
Well, let's see. Besides rushdown, generally fighting games have like a puppet character.
Mm-hmm.
They have. I mean, those are kind of the rules.
I'm trying to think of like. There's kind of like the Blanca type character, like the tricky character, you know, the trickster type character.
I feel like they're just like as an idea. It's like an alternate is always the idea.
What do you
It's
mean?
just like not conform. Like I think of Faust.
Oh, okay.
Like what is Faust?
Okay.
Right.
Well, there needs to be a unique playstyle character.
Right. Is like
Yeah.
this is not necessarily in line with any other character type, which I feel like that could be envy, with our envy concept.
Right. Our envy concept is a little bit
Okay,
unique.
we'll call envy unique.
Because then in that way, I feel like wrath is rushdown makes sense. Wrath is might want to look up the definition also, but it's kind of like aggressive.
Well, yeah, but I
Is it
also
not?
feel like it's very well. I mean, it could be. It's both a rush. I mean, to me, wrath feels like a strike throw character. Do you know what I mean?
Okay. In like what way you mean?
Lust is rushdown.
Okay.
That makes sense to me. Lust is all about getting in. You get in, you mix them up, you open them up,
Mm-hmm.
rushdown. Whereas wrath feels more like big hits to me.
Really.
Yeah.
To me, well, I guess right. Wrath is like aggressive. It also feels like it's like uncontrollable rage.
Yeah.
You know. So where like, I guess how does that kind of fit in with the like uncontrollable rage? Where like, it's not like super precise. You know, it's not precise. I feel like.
Yeah, it's just like explosive.
You know. Look up the definition for wrath. I want to see.
All right.
I want to. I like the definitions.
Yeah, they help.
Help.
No.
Hello?
Google, what's the? That might throw off the OBS recording.
Oh, that sucks. Frick you, Google.
Fuck.
Why is it doing
I
that?
did it again because I'm a dumb bitch.
Oh.
Strong, vengeful anger or indignation.
Okay.
Retribution, punishment for an offense or crime.
So the vengeful one is interesting. You fit in with this character something with like
no, yeah,
this
he's
character hates the way that it's run, the system of things. You know,
That's interesting.
is like some vengeful like it's anger. Like they hate.
I
they're
was more
mad at
thinking
how
like
everything-
a character like Raven from Zerd, where it's like
Okay.
they have a mechanic where the more you hit them, the better they get.
That kind of seems like envy though, with what we talked about. Or the more you hit them,
Yeah.
it's kind of like that too. But I feel like within the world.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
we're getting loose with it.
Yeah,
We're gonna
yeah.
eventually delve into these
Yeah,
concepts on a
yeah.
broader angle, and I think I think we're on a good path. I definitely feel right about Rushdown and Brawler. Because what other archetypes
I still don't really understand. Like, what's a character who's Brawler that I know?
Marisa.
Okay. No, yeah, you're okay. That's super aggressive punches.
Dude. Honda. He's a Brawler.
Oh, you would say he's a Brawler. I guess.
He's a Brawler.
Okay.
That's what he is. He's not a grappler. He
Right.
plays strike throw,
Right.
but he's not a grappler.
Right, and again, big hits.
Big
You
hits.
get it, like, the hits just, especially with, like, Marisa.
Big whomps and whacks.
Marisa just, like, you just feel the power in the punches, you know?
Dude,
It's like,
even like DJ. DJ's a Brawler.
Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense for Wrath. I can see that. I guess I just kind of intuitively think Rushdown as aggressive, and I think of aggressive as Wrath. But, like...
Well, then what would Lust be, in your opinion, other than, like, Grappler?
Right. I feel like I would understand more once we kind of have an idea of what Lust is going to play like. You know? I don't immediately have, like, one that...
That doesn't connect for you? That doesn't snap in your mind?
Well, what do you mean?
Rushdowns are all about sticking to you like white on rice. They want to be on top of you always. And then they constantly want to be trying to trick you into opening up. You let them in, and then they combo you. And then they knock you down. They stay on top of you. All they want to do is get close to you. They just want to be close to you.
Okay.
They just want to be close to you. They just want to be...
The desire part.
Right.
They desire...
Think of Chip in Guilty Gear. He wants to be always in your face. He wants to be in your face at every moment of every day. So that he can keep mixing you up and getting what he wants.
I kind of have this vision of, like, the Lust character, while also wanting to be someone who approaches, also being able to, like, some move of, like, forcing the other person to approach, you know.
But that's not what Lust is.
No.
Let's look up. Maybe this is where the disconnect is, because Lust is very specific about what it actually means. It's a desire. I think it demonstrates it better in this image, but I think of, like, the actual definition. It's the way that it's lecherous. It's almost you're forcing yourself upon somebody. It is not to simply be attractive.
Okay.
It is to seek that desire to that intense degree. That is lust.
Rather than... instead of being,
to use the drug analogy again, lust is the desire to have more drugs. To do drugs.
So, if it's an intense sexual desire, it's like I want this so bad.
Yes.
I'm going to go get it, find it, and it's going to be a thing that happens. Instead of waiting for someone to come to me.
No, that's exactly what it is.
Okay.
Because that honestly sounds something like more like pride.
Okay, yeah.
Where it's like, I'm waiting for somebody to come to me.
Okay. That makes sense.
Which makes sense, because there's owner.
Right.
Anyway, I think this is good. And then, of course, we have the secret character.
Which I feel like that just completely comes in once we've discussed more in depth the characters, and like that's not even something we think about right
this
now.
is the character we figured out once.
This
we
is like, is it the boss? Is it like a
these.
big story bad guy? And who even knows how he's gonna play? He's
like he's the guy who teaches you in the tutorials.
Something you know.
You end up unlocking.
I do like the dealer.
The dealer is good.
That's like a placeholder thing.
So we have our archetypes in line. Did we really miss anything?
I was about to
say.
say.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of like think about like base or like important Guilty Gear characters. Think about like the 8 World Warriors.
Yeah.
Like we have our Ryu, we have our Ken. Guile's like the zoner. Dhalsim is also kind of like zoner. Zangief's grappler. Chun-Li is like, what would you say?
She's kind of like, she's like a brawler.
Yeah, I was actually gonna think. I was thinking kind of brawler. Who's the Rushdown? Is Blanca's kind of? Oh, yeah, I guess E Honda's also like in there. And
who's in the original World Fighters?
Ryu, Ken, Chun-Li, Guile, Zangief, Dhalsim, Blanca, E Honda. That's 8.
It might have been Chun-Li, and I'm just not remembering Turbo correctly.
There's not really
but Chun-Li,
solid...
if I think of Chun-Li, she doesn't feel like a mix-up character. I feel like once the game expanded, or Rushdown became more of a thing with like Vega.
I don't think Rushdown was a thing in the base original 8. There's not really one that jumps out, but I think you're right, kind of like Vega.
Well, because the game was a lot slower too.
Right.
The idea of a Rushdown is sort of
right. The concept was less of like it was more just like trading punches and you know waiting for your opportunity to get in rather than rushing in and getting in there.
Right.
So I guess Rushdown was.
I'm
really
sure
established.
eventually Street Fighter 2 got a Rushdown character that we
Right.
can't just like think of right now.
Cammy
Cammy,
was in Street
Cammy's
Fighter 2
definitely
eventually.
Rushdown.
She was in Street Fighter 2
Cammy's
eventually.
ultra Rushdown.
And she's like a staple now, so clearly
Right.
she's like the Rushdown.
and she's
now.
she is a staple Rushdown.
So
I would say she's
Yes.
the Rushdown character
yes.
of 6,
Mhm.
other than Kimberly.
Yeah. And then I'm just thinking of other characters in like 6. I don't know if you have any specific
Ken's
characters.
Rushdown in 6.
Right, Ken is
Yeah, let's think of more archetypes just to make sure we didn't miss anything.
Yeah. Any archetypes you can think of in like Guilty Gear. Puppet is cool.
But fuck
It can-
Puppet.
Really,
I mean,
Depending on how Pride goes with the Zoner or this guy, like Puppet
I mean,
to me,
for the Puppet dealer, he kind of
yeah,
is.
there's ways to implement it. I think in what we have. So
Like everything in
But-
Guilty Gear is so like Happy Chaos isn't an archetype. I mean, we already have unique. Unique covers a
Right.
lot of bases.
And also, this is very general. We might end up finding that our brawler ends up being like unique,
right, our
you know?
brawlers also. Guess what? Now our Lust is actually also a puppet character.
Right, or like we have. Right, our main character can end up becoming
Yeah.
completely original, while also still vaguely being Shoto.
Right.
You know, I think Grappler is obviously like you kind of stick
Yeah.
to Grappler, but obviously there'll be
So
unique
character,
things in it.
we have our main ideas
Yeah.
for what characters we want, and we'll obviously build off the idea of the sins to make the characters themselves. We have our secret buddy in the middle. What should we talk about next? Type of fighting game. Obviously, Guilty Gear and Street Fighter are two very different playing
right.
games.
We have anime, and we have
Yeah.
traditional, very traditional.
Well, let's. This is gonna be really the question of the hour between us. 4 or 6 buttons. Well, 5 technically. Guilty Gear has. If I recall, my original concept for this, it was a 4-button fighter.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in a very similar vein to, like, DNF Duel and Guilty Gear. Where it's or, like, even the JoJo fighting game. Where it's, like, you understand that these buttons do this. And then, where they're either series, like light, medium, heavy, or punch, kick, or whatever. And then the other buttons are, I think the idea was it was going to be, like, twist and something. Because a twist was something... Oh, man, I'm trying to pull back from the dredges of my memory the original concept I had.
I kind of like. Obviously, you need like a punch and a kick.
Do we? Like, do we really? Think about it.
Not well. This is what I was gonna kind of say with this is like, you kind of have like your 3 fundamental normals, and then maybe like
Yeah.
the 4th normal is kind of like unique
Exactly.
to a character.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is like Blaze Blue has something very similar. They have A, B, C, and then like the unique button.
But they're all still normals.
Yeah.
You know, I guess kick is kind of interesting because you kind of look at like Guilty Gear with Potemkin. He really, the fact that he even has a kick button is kind of dumb, and it's actually his forward, like his 6K is not even a kick; it's like a shoulder bash.
Yeah.
So he has like one kick move, and it's like it doesn't make sense for him to really have kicks as a fundamental
Ed,
button
who
on
is
him.
all punches.
Punches, yeah, they have boxer characters in Street Fighter, so.
Those now more mean high and low or mid and low.
Right.
rather.
So maybe
I think we don't need like.
does it
6
make more
buttons.
sense to have the kick is now the low, and some characters they kick, some characters they have.
No, I literally I like the
like
idea.
high, mid, low, and then unique,
I mean, literally, no. I mean,
something like that.
yeah.
You know.
They shouldn't be exactly that.
Well, right, but I'm.
But yes, I think we make this a 4 to 5 button fighter, right? Where it's unique, and then one of these are like this is your EX button. You know what I mean?
What do
Or
you
it's
mean?
like it's like an EX button. It's like
What do you mean?
it's an extra unique button, basically.
You mean like dust and Guilty Gear?
Yes, basically, yeah.
Because if we're gonna do 4, I feel like we have to have like 4/5. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
in there.
Definitely.
Because then it's at that point it's like okay,
Well,
5
right, but
and
see,
6.
because like the reason why I say 4/5
Mm-hmm.
is because dust isn't really a normal.
No, because it's grab.
like the
lot of
most
the time.
you normally use dust for is grab or 2D, and those are more utilities than they are normal.
I'm gonna be honest. I find, as someone who just started with Strive,
Yeah.
I don't really like how dust works in the sense of like the fact that it's like you can use it as just a grab. Okay, that's just like a normal input in a lot of games. also when you're in the air, it's just like a normal. And also when you're crouching, it's just like a normal.
Yeah.
But then when you're standing, it's like this unique mechanic
it's
of
also
like,
a normal.
right, but then it's also
just
like
a universal overhead.
it just feels like it's.
But see, it's because it's all because it's a utility. The button, it's more of a utility button than it is your average normal button.
I'll just say that I don't like it being grab.
Okay, that's all right. Doesn't have to be.
I think it's okay as like a utility thing. I think the main thing I don't like is the fact that it's like sometimes it's a normal, sometimes it's a grab, and I don't. It's just kind of
that makes sense. I mean, in my mind, that sort of all clicks together because I think, all right, my universal low, my universal high, my universal grab. That's all 3 rock paper scissors options. That's all of them.
I guess, but I just see grabs as like a different thing. They function completely different than normals in a lot of ways.
Yeah, definitely. I think grabbing is something we should definitely talk about with this video game. But so 4/5 button fighter. Now,
because then that doesn't feel like
oh
we're missing out on gameplay potential compared to Street Fighter, which has 6. Because if it's like 4/5, okay, we're close enough to 6 to where it's like we're not really missing out.
4/5 also feels way more accessible.
I think it's easier for us to design.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is easier for us to design.
6 buttons is like you got to get really specific. And what is this character's medium kick? And I feel like
what's this character's medium kick? What's the use of the medium kick? How is it different than the light kick? How is it different than the heavy kick?
As a someone who plays Street Fighter a lot, I do enjoy 6 buttons because it feels like I have a lot of options at any given moment.
Yeah.
But we're obviously not professional game designers in like the sense that like we're not like so specific to where we're not really going to be coming down to like how many frames should this move be? Like we're not.
Yeah,
we're not super involved.
No, we're not going to
that.
Be
and so
eventually we'll get there.
Yes, but you know what I mean. We're like, for Street Fighter developers now, they've done this for so long that it's like, oh, we understand it. 6 buttons. What is each specific of each of the moves? But I feel like for us, as this being like a new thing that we're doing, 4/5 is going to be way easier for us to do.
And also because, especially if like 2 of them are unique in that way, we kind of have an idea of if it's a light, medium, heavy thing, we understand. All right, these are fast, these are pokes, these are wumps. This one's unique to your character. This one is an interesting button.
At the same time, we got to avoid making it be like every character's normals feel like they do the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't really like. I don't necessarily dislike this about Guilty Gear, but it just kind of sometimes feels like it's like, oh, every single crouching dust is the exact same move. I know it's not, but it just sometimes it kind of feels like.
I think they are.
Oh, really?
Well, because they all are sort of medium-ish range lows.
Right. I like the distinction of like these are all your low hitting moves, but I kind of want to lean more towards they function differently, and they're still all low hitting moves, but they're kind of different. They don't all just feel like, oh, this is the same move on every character, just slightly different.
Right. I like the idea of thinking of a low, medium, and heavy system because that's not only what people understand, but also like I think it helps get things across.
Right. But I'm kind of meaning like I don't want everyone's high to have like similar.
Did I say low, medium, heavy, or light, medium, heavy?
You said medium, but it's kind of more like low, mid, heavy. Like we're talking about like positions.
I'm talking about light, medium, heavy.
Oh, okay. In terms of like,
I think people understand like what lights do, what mediums should do, and what
Mm-hmm.
heavies should do.
Okay.
Right. I think that's way easy to understand.
Yeah.
Versus low, mid, high.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I mean, like, I guess this is kind of interesting. Is how do you make it like? Because in Street Fighter, obviously, you have a light punch. You also have a light kick. Your light punch is sometimes your just mid-range move, and your light kick is like your light, low poking move.
Yeah.
And then sometimes your light kick is more like your poke mid-range tool instead of a low. But sometimes for some people it's a low. So it's like, how do you make sure all of these things are accounted for in the
command
moveset?
normals.
Everyone needs, I guess, just
Special
focus
moves.
more on command normals.
Special moves and command normals.
Yeah. Just, some characters anti-air is a normal, some characters anti-air
We also
is
have a
special.
whole unique button to work with.
True.
Right? And like, what does that mean?
So are we kind of thinking light, medium, heavy, unique button?
And then another unique button, but it's not really
utility like that.
I like the idea of utility, but I also thought about like if there was a puppet character, I imagine the way you could control the puppet is all through that move.
I was about to say, what if the are you talking about the unique button or the dust button?
Yeah, basically the quote-unquote dust
The
button.
dust equivalent is like, for some characters...
But I also called it your EX move, so I also thought, like, that's the one that uses meter. This button, it uses meter, but not just, like, in your super way. It's also like a... If I use this button, there's a good chance the move is going to use meter, and it does something special in that way.
Okay. So, with, like, the special... The unique button, is that one kind of more like...
Yeah, this is your character's deal. But...
Where it's like Happy Chaos, where he's like, his heavy slash is a gun
exactly,
now.
yeah.
It would be like, instead of it being like, his heavy slash is like, oh, you know his unique button.
Is
and then
the
you
gun.
kind of go in like, oh, our main character Shoto guy, his unique button is unique, but it's not like super outlandish. Like, it's easy to understand because he's the main character.
Yeah.
Whereas you go into like, oh, the zoner's unique button, this whole weird thing. You know, everyone kind of has the unique button. That's a fun way to make them feel unique without, even aside from the special moves, their unique button immediately gives like something weird about the character.
So let's write down. Let's write down on the board here 5-button fighter.
I'm currently imagining it as, you know, for Xbox layout, X, A, B, light, medium, heavy, and then Y is like the unique button, and then if RB is like the dust equivalent, you know.
You're thinking something sort of like, you know, if we're light, medium, heavy, did you say?
Or medium down here. I'm immediately thinking about like Street Fighter's modern setup. This is how Street Fighter's where it's light, and then A is medium, and then heavy is B, and then special moves up there. Obviously, we're not doing that, but this is the unique attack.
Normally these kind of fighters have it be light, medium, heavy, unique
Really?
down here. Yeah, like the JoJo fighting game, Blaze Blue. They usually have unique be down here.
I guess it doesn't really matter.
No, that's true.
And it's something you could even change. There could be multiple,
yeah. If
know,
you bind it,
obviously,
then what does it really matter?
Obviously, so.
But you know this idea, and then like your utilities.
RB is...
Yeah, let's just call it your interesting button.
We don't want to call it dust because, you know.
Yeah, or utility because we're already using unique.
Mm-hmm.
All right, 4/5 button fighter. Now let's talk about the scale of a fight, because I think the question is not are we doing an anime fighter or a traditional fighter.
We're not doing. We're doing a
how
unique,
big is the stage and how mobile are the characters, because that's really what it comes down.
Right, we're obviously not.
Do characters have air dashes?
Right, we're gonna.
Do characters have an air block?
Because I don't think this is gonna be like a we pick anime fighter. That's what we're doing. Traditional fighter. That's what we're doing. It's gonna be like which parts do we like from both?
Yeah.
And which parts do we like from neither? You know?
Yeah. I, for one, am a fan of the air dash.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I enjoy it. However, I kind of think... Have you also been kind of getting this vibe that we're sort of making like a Darkstalkers here?
I actually haven't played Darkstalkers. I think we should probably play that at some point.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
We should.
Mm-hmm.
But like, that game... I don't know if it had the first, but it had characters with an air dash, right? And it's like that. It's just the character that has an air dash as part of their moveset.
Okay. I kind of
Darkstalkers is kind of it's interesting.
Yeah.
You really should play.
We should definitely play it together.
Yeah.
Especially for this.
Yeah.
But I kind of had this thought, just as we kind of had this idea for a couple weeks now of making a fighting game of like. Kind of like either like should some characters be like you have like one of three things, like you either have an air dash, you either have a double jump, you either have some other third movement option where like not every character has an air dash but they alternatively have like a double jump, or they alternatively have this other option, or is it like something you get to pick? You're like, oh, I pick air dash, I pick
that's fucking fascinating.
double jump, you know, or is it like assigned to the character, you know?
Yeah, that's interesting. That's definitely something to decide, because I think of like, I mean, really, let's just figure this out.
Okay.
Air block, yes or no?
Air block is weird. It feels, because on one hand, well, the main thing is the thing I like about Street Fighter is when you commit to a jump,
you commit,
and then you fail that jump, the person is like, I'm gonna punish you for doing that.
Yeah.
And you, the thing I don't like about Guilty Gear is the fact that you can be moving forward and block. If you can block in the air, I don't think you should be allowed to move forward. I think if your character is moving forward, you can't block. But if you're gonna like jump and then go backwards, then you can block. But I think it's weird that in Guilty Gear you can do like a forward jump and then block, because then you're approaching while blocking, and I don't really like that.
I just thought of something fucking stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we can play with that, right? If we make jump-ins committal to a degree, but still allow for something like an air dash, it can really just be like, you're not allowed to block in the air if you commit to your movement option.
Yes. I think
if you do your movement option, no blocking.
If you're gonna block in the air, it's gonna be like I jump and then you think I'm gonna go forward, but I actually just do a neutral jump and block. You know, I either do a neutral jump or I jump back and block. But if I'm gonna like go up forward,
well, I also think of like a safe jump, right? That's a thing you have to have.
What do you mean?
Safe jump. Do you know what a safe jump is?
Not exactly.
Essentially, it's you get a knockdown and you have enough frame advantage that you can jump in, do a move, and if they get up and mash, you hit them.
Okay.
If they don't, you have enough time to land and still block.
I think it's okay if you can land and block, but I think you shouldn't be allowed to block while you are moving forward.
I think I like my idea where it's if you do your movement option. Where if you do like, because in my mind it's if you do one jump, you can still block during that jump. If you do your movement option, you've thrown away that
ability. If you double jump, after your double jump, you can't block in the air anymore.
Yeah.
And then if you do your dash...
If you do your double jump...
Because how it works in Guilty Gear right now is you can obviously double jump and then still block. You can also dash forward, and then once your dash ends, block right after it.
Yeah.
So if what you're putting the limit of the block is you can dash forward, but now you're landing, you're not going to be able to block. You double jump, you approach with a double jump, or you just like jump twice in place. Now you're going to fall this giant height not being able to block, and that's going to be a punishment.
The character with, or if somebody has an air dash, right, they can jump and air dash at you, but they're vulnerable to jump in to anti-airs,
right,
unless you have an option that messes with your air trajectory.
Because my issue isn't specifically the like jumping forward and blocking. My main issue with Guilty Gear is it just feels like you can put on pressure while still being like, I'm also going to block while putting on pressure, and I just don't.
That's true, but I think that's part of the fact that Guilty Gear is all about pressure.
Well, no, I'm agreeing with. I think the limit should be after you've used your movement option.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm saying.
I think that works.
I want there to be some amount of limit of how aggressive you can be, and it limits your defensive capability. And I think that sounds like it's enough.
Well, I mean, this entire, like, the whole concept is playing with the idea of risk and reward.
Right. That's what I mean.
Risk, it's all risk. I also think when you do your movement ability, you should get some Mondo reward.
Right, and that's what I mean. Like, the movement option should be really good, but it should be like, if you just keep throwing out your movement option, you're going to get punished.
Right, the grappler has an air grab. He's got the freaking heat knuckle that's going to evaporate you.
Right. Right. And that's kind of what I mean, where it's like, if you are going to dash forward, you shouldn't be able to block my heat knuckle after that. If you're going to dash forward and I'm like,
I called
I'm
it.
standing
I
right
called
here,
the heat knuckle.
I should get that.
I got it. I
know it.
I know it.
As long as we have it be, like, you have enough of a risk-reward thing with that, I think, that's good.
All right. Yeah, that's baller. Okay, so that's interesting. I like that. So there is an air block. It only works before you use your movement abilities. We've kind of already met this pseudo-hybrid, right?
Right.
Between air and mobility in Street Fighter and Guilty
Right, because I like air dashes. Like I've said, I really like movement in games.
Yeah.
The only game where I don't play, like, super big guys, like we've talked about, like, shooters, I usually like being really fast and mobile. Because I think people like movement is fun inherently. When you feel like you have control over your character, it's fun inherently.
People love movement.
I think air dashes are awesome. It's just I think the way we've done it now is taking the parts that I like of Street Fighter's air movement and also the mobility of Guilty Gear.
I just thought of something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll mention it later during gameplay section.
Okay.
But
don't forget.
I won't forget it because it'll. If it's not that good of an idea, it'll die.
Okay.
All right, so that's air mobility, right?
Right.
And the way we've been talking, it feels like characters should be pretty mobile.
Yeah.
Right. To almost like an accent core degree with how mobile they are, just without the safety of that mobility.
Right. Right. So what do you think of the idea of like the air dash, double jump? Potential third option, like this idea of like characters are assigned one of them, or they are assigned like you pick one, or like
Or it's like you use a resource, or it's like...
Right.
I say that feels more like something we determine once we get to it. Because
Like,
how the hell does an air dash work?
What do you mean?
Like, if you think of in Guilty Gear, how are they air dashing?
Oh, right. How are they?
How is that happening?
Well, that's why it can kind of be character specific, where it's like this. Obviously, like we make kind of like how Potemkin doesn't have a forward dash. It's like, oh, our grappler has either the double jump or the third option. He doesn't have the forward dash, and it's like, okay, the character that we do give a forward dash, we incorporate that kind of with their character.
I feel like, I feel like we do it. So only some characters have that.
Yeah.
It's like a specific. It's more Street Fighter in that sense of this is a mobility tool for them in the air rather than a universal tool.
Right. I don't think it necessarily makes sense for every single character to dash in the air.
No.
It doesn't make sense for every single character to have a double jump.
I don't even know if it makes sense for a character to have a double jump.
Right.
Even though that exists in a lot of fighting games. They should, or like I had an idea of what if a character just has like a feint jump, or like a jump where
he can jump and then like kind of fall back.
Right.
Or kind of
like a jump and then they can instantly fall down, right? To instantly drop to the ground, or a jump and
kind
then they can activate like a Cuphead parry move during.
Well, I'm kind of thinking like the grappler like jumps in and it's like, oh, you think I'm just kidding, I'm gonna land right here and grab you?
Exactly.
It's like, oh, what am I gonna do?
Right.
So that's.
Yeah, I definitely think movement should be character by character rather than universal.
Instead of an air dash, you're like, I can dash down.
But here's the important distinction. Every character should have mobility.
Oh, absolutely. Just not in the exact same way.
Right.
Yeah.
I think, all right, that's settled, right? So that's pretty good.
Even the grappler has movement. It's just not necessarily going to be like,
now that I think about it, I don't even know why I wrote down 5-button fighter. We're not going to fucking forget it, dude. We're not going to forget that fact.
I guess now that we've established it as like...
Well, right, not only... But it's on recording. It's on film.
True. It's also being recorded.
Links or combos? Or links or Gatling?
Okay, so...
Gatling, for those unaware, is also called the magic system. It's also called links, which is messed up.
Right.
It's basically the ability to buffer the next button after you hit the one that you do.
So here's what's important, I think, about both of these is the problems with buffering is when it feels like you do a move and then say some interrupting like super animation happens or like another move, like the problems with buffering come out when like you feel like you did that move like 3 seconds ago and now it's coming out and you're like, I don't want that move out anymore.
Well, I would say that's your fault for pushing the button that early.
Well, links are your fault because you're not timing it right. So
well,
you could say that.
But see, the thing is with buffering, I don't buffer by spamming the button like you psycho. I buffer by pressing the button I want to press a few frames before the animation ends.
Yeah.
And yeah, that is how links works, but buffering is so much more like links, there's a specific frame window you have to hit. Whereas buffering is like, all right, you hit the move, they're in hit stun, you press the button, got it, chief. It's coming out as soon as you need me to.
Because obviously the problem with links is when they're too strict.
But also like netcode. Think about netcode.
Right. I think I want like a balance of both the feel of I don't want super hard links where you feel like you need to be so almost frame perfect, otherwise your move combo's not going to work, which means if you have a slightly off day of playing, you're not going to be able to play the character. But also like with buffering, I want it to feel like you do have to kind of
I think it should be moves. Like Guilty Gear, where it's like you have a frame window, but it's huge, and if you push the button within this frame window, it's gonna happen.
Yeah. But I don't want it to be too generous or too strict.
Why don't you want it to be too generous?
Because I just feel like I don't know. I want the moves to feel more intentional, I guess.
But they are intentional.
I guess.
Because you're pressing them.
Yeah.
When you want to press them.
I guess, like, for combos... I don't know.
You can't say you don't know. We have to talk about it.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of what I...
Yeah, well, I mean, make the case, like the honest case for links here.
Well, I'm not... The thing is, I'm not arguing for links.
Right. So why are you
I'm
against
not. I'm arguing
a buffer?
I would rather have it be like.
Right. Well, I guess
Buffering,
what I'm
but-
trying to understand is what your issue is with, like, what is your true issue with a buffer, other than the fact that you just spam the button and so the move comes out.
I don't know. I guess I don't.
Because in my mind, there's also the world where the buffer system is in place, but people discover links just because of the virtue of how moves are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess buffering in the sense of like this is a combo that is like supposed to work, and it should be, easy to do in relative sense. It shouldn't be like to do your basic combo you have to really practice the exact timing. I don't like that. But so I don't know. I don't I feel like buffering's fine. I guess I just like it feeling like.
That's interesting, because I think it's the option. I think buffering is the choice.
What do you mean?
I think, like, there's no doubt in my mind that it's buffering. Is that you push the button, you got the hit, congratulations. Push whichever button you'd like to continue the combo with.
Mm-hmm.
And special cancel in the hit stun, you don't need a special cancel at a specific time. It's like special cancel moves in Street Fighter. It's if you hit this move, anytime during the thing, you can input the move and it will happen and it'll connect.
I guess I understand more about how like Street Fighter functionally works. I've obviously played Guilty Gear a lot, so I don't actually really understand exactly functionally how the buffer system's working, other than I just play the game and combos are easier to do. So as long as it doesn't feel like, because I don't necessarily have the problem with Guilty Gear where I'm like the game is way too lean. And
Well, no. Finish. Well, as long as it doesn't feel like what?
It's like the game is finishing like. I want it to still feel like I'm doing the combo and like I'm pushing these buttons
because you're pushing the buttons.
Yeah, but it's just like I don't
Like
want it to feel like
what world?
I don't want it to feel like
is
I
it where
push.
it doesn't work?
I just go. I guess some sort of rhythm makes it feel more intentional. I don't want it to just be like you can just push A X B in any.
All right,
sequence
no,
and
I think I understand what you don't want like a Sonic QuickTime LBAARR.
Right.
Great.
Right.
You did it.
Right.
You want it to be like whomp psh whomp psh
Right.
whomp psh,
Like
whomp,
because I'm kind of thinking like in one of Potemkin's combos where he has like his crouching slash and then he does an uppercut move and then he heat knuckles you. I like the feeling of like swipe you away, punch you up, and then kind of wait for you to fall a little bit and then grab you. I like kind of like there's still kind of a that's what I mean where like I don't think Guilty Gear necessarily has this problem. I just want to avoid it where it's like I can just go YBX, boom, my combo happens. I want it to be like Y, you gotta wait a little bit.
Yeah, auto combo with
Push
extra
it.
steps.
Right. I want it to be like you there's still a rhythm to it.
All right, that's fair.
It's a lenient rhythm. You don't have to be super precise like Link's, but you still have to kind of be like at this point in the combo I have to kind of wait and then do my move.
That's fair.
Because then it feels intentional. It feels like a rhythm, but it's still lenient, and I think.
All right, so that's a pretty good fundamental thing I think we sorted out is sort of the feel. Everyone is gonna be mobile. Everyone has mobility.
Yes.
Everyone is gonna be mobile to some degree. You can really roam around the stage. Combos feel good. They will happen as long as you're pushing the buttons in the right rhythm. But you don't need to be 3 frame, 4 frame, 5 frame precise.
No, absolutely not.
So EX moves.
Yeah.
This is something I really wanted to debate you about because I don't love EX moves.
Why not?
I don't like the idea that there is the objective best choice for a move in a scenario.
Okay, but is it not using a resource to make it better?
That's true. I am a fan of that. I do like that.
The thing that I like about it is when it kind of feels almost like it's like not fully committing to like a super, but I'm using a resource to kind of buff my combo.
That's true. I guess I'm just thinking about it in the scope of a 5-button fighter rather than Street Fighter. Because in Street Fighter, sure, I could end this combo with Heavy Shoryu, or I could cash out with an EX Shoryu.
Right, and there's even some combos that only work with the EX or the OD and
but
6.
I guess it's because we haven't really figured out how special moves are going to work in our game.
But I like it because it almost feels like a mini super in the sense of it's like some supers make it so combos are possible or they make it more punishing,
I think that's fair. And I definitely think we can find an interesting and unique version of it for this game.
So it's kind of like, sure, the EX version is the better version of the move, but if you
Well, I mean, maybe it's not even the better. Maybe it's just like the different, the alternate version of the move.
It has a higher threshold or higher capability.
It does. It has a greater effect, but of course at the cost of meter. Like, if I was thinking about it, I think every character, like I talk about the EX button, this button you can access your moves that are like versions of your established special unique moves, but crazier.
Right, because I kind of think again like Street Fighter. If I think about like Blanca, he has his Blanca ball where he propels at you.
Yeah.
And then he also has his OD version of it. And in his OD version, it's like, oh, instead of just bouncing off of them, you go through them and they do like a cross-up attack. So it kind of leads to...
Right, because that's always good. You want options, right? You want to have options. I do like it, right? I think of like YRC in Zerd, where it's like, I can expend meter to make this move have an entirely different function, right? I can now make Gunflame a move I can run behind. I can make Dandy Step suddenly a crazy fast movement tool where now I'm in your face and I'm here to grab you.
And again, another Street Fighter example is some characters don't have like super good reversal moves on Wake Up except for their OD moves. So it's like this character normally doesn't have super good reversal options, but if they're willing to use a resource, then they kind of gain access.
So now let's have a little chat about meters.
Okay.
So obviously we have, for a pair of characters, right? We have a life meter.
Oh, so we're assuming that we're doing a life meter? Is it wild of me to say that?
No. Your characters actually just beat each other up until they actually die. Like, until the game actually just kills itself.
Well, because on a more serious note, I'm not saying let's do something that is not a life meter, but like, think about what like a life meter means in the sense of
there's that free fighting game where it's like you don't have a life meter, you have hits.
Right, you have chunks.
You know the one I'm talking about?
Some characters have less chunks,
Yeah, some characters more, some characters have less, and moves do different amounts of chunks.
Right.
You're right, that is interesting.
Like, I'm not necessarily saying let's not do it, but I'm just kind of thinking, like, why is life the best way to do it? Or is there, like, maybe we slightly change it up or something,
Money. It's your bank account. And you get the money
you bet more, you have more life.
You get the shit beat out of you. Yeah. That's fucking stupid.
I think we use life just like for now, but if there's some weird crazy thing we come up
with,
because
the thing you just said, that sounds like a cool meter mechanic.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You say there's 2 rounds in a match, right? And before every round, you're like, give me 50 on the meter. And now you have 50 meter to work with, and your opponent has 25 meter to work with.
Should we bring this up in our gambling idea? I don't think we've really talked about it.
No, but this feels more like a gameplay talk.
We saved the gambling topic for future.
All right, so let's use life for now. How many meters? So 1 meter so far. We have life.
Life.
Yeah. I'm actually gonna move these up.
Right. Let's just think about what we know. Guilty Gear has burst and it has tension.
Burst and tension.
And Street Fighter has also its super meter, and also in 6 it has the drive system. Yeah. So, baseline, it kind of sounds like 2 like functioning meters is in both of them, burst and drive, and the super meter tension is also like the super meter for Guilty Gear equivalent. So, right, like this, both games have this layout where they have like their top meter and then they're like super
life meter. And then this is like the main meter.
Right. This is like the super meter.
And this is like the unique
thing.
Meter.
And you want it to kind of make sense of what each one is doing. Yeah. That is one thing I like about Street Fighter. It does feel like it's like my super moves and then my kind of everything else. It's basically the drive system is like enhancing because you have the parry is like the enhanced block, and then you have like drive rush is the enhanced dash, and then you can do EX moves from that, or the OD moves, and so that's enhanced of your normals, and then supers are kind of like their own new unique ones. So you want to make sure there's a distinction of what is this meter, what are the meters doing?
Okay, so here's the thing. Every fighting game, this meter here, you punch the guy, you hit the guy, you get hit, you gain it.
I don't think we should necessarily fully do this. I think we should kind of talk about like what's the fun way to gain meter.
Right, but also like we have the unique meter to work with.
True.
And then we have our super meter to work with, right?
Right.
So my thoughts are, one of these is understandable.
Mm-hmm.
One of these is you have to learn.
Okay, like this is more the main meter is more like that. You understand that over time during the match you're gonna get
You're
more
gonna
of it,
gain it. Eventually, he's gonna use his meter for something. I'm gonna use my meter for something.
Mhm.
For my EX moves, for my whatever, and then
Right.
this is typically like,
So
this is your burst, or this is your
Right.
drive gauge,
Right.
or
which in both games you start with full of them.
Yeah.
You just start with. I kind of like almost this interesting idea of maybe you start with full of them too, but also like maybe each character builds that meter in a different way.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes with their goal. It's like the grappler, every time he gets a grab in,
no, absolutely.
he's going to get his meter
I like
every
that
time.
idea, but
you
I
know.
feel like that's definitely a this meter.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. Because the main meter is like, hey, you already know what is going to happen with this. You're going to get punished over time in the match. You're going to get it. Your unique meter, you need to know your character more.
Yeah,
a little
so
bit more
let's
to
do
understand that.
like, no, I like you unique meter,
Yeah, for now, it's good.
unique meter, and then
A super meter essentially is what the other one is.
yeah, I mean basically, but it's also like EX meter.
Right, we can end up tying the EX thing to that because that's obviously what Street Fighter originally did. Was that the EX took from your super meters?
So 3 meter game, life, as far as we know, life, unique, super.
right, which is good because it seems like the modern fighting game. This is kind of the standard.
Right. This is kind of the standard. It is a bit of a shame because I do think of like Guilty Gear again, where
Older
tension is
Guilty
everything.
Mhm.
Burst is barely a meter.
Oh, true. I guess in Guilty Gear Strive, it's like Wild Assault and that like one orange blocking move uses burst, so they kind of turned it more into like a second meter, whereas I guess before it was more like your burst just has to wait and then it's a move that comes out.
Well, burst also like in Zerd and also in
Oh,
Accent Core, it was also EX moves,
true.
and it
super
was
as well.
also burst supers.
Oh, does the EX moves take from burst in those games?
Yeah, dust. Or no, those take meter in Accent Core. I'm thinking of burst supers. Burst
Yeah, burst
supers take
supers.
burst.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So you're saying burst? Well, but like what I'm saying though is in Strive, burst feels more like a secondary meter because of
Right.
the wild assault thing.
Burst, but
you know?
also in Street Fighter, your super because your super meter is EXs.
It's not EXs. It's solely just.
Oh, it's not
Right,
EXs.
the drive system uses.
Yeah, the drive
That's
system
why
is
they
EXs.
renamed them OD moves, is because they were
Oh,
like, oh,
yeah.
this is different. It uses from the drive system, which I actually like that change. a lot.
Overdrive. You're right.
I love
I
that
entirely
change in
forgot,
6.
dude.
That's probably my favorite thing about the.
Like, I feel like there's some way we can consolidate.
What do you mean?
Like, what if we just do the unique meter idea?
So you build meter in a unique way.
One
with
main
every
meter,
character?
like one main meter,
Mhm.
that is also your super meter, and then your backup meter. Your
What do you mean
meter
backup
that's
meter?
like your meter that is your burst, or your supers, like just your supers,
So you-
just your burst.
Your supers aren't from the unique meter.
No,
Well, that's what I kind of mean is
or yes,
they are from your unique
they
meter.
are from your unique
So
meter.
this is another interesting point with something I like about Third Strike is everyone's super has a different meter amount. You know how like some characters have like one giant chunk, other characters have like 3 mini chunks.
Yeah.
Of their super. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
I think it's a unique meter, so it should be like, hey, the grappler has
Yeah,
the giant.
and he
chunk of a
it,
meter,
it allows
you
us to like give different amounts of meter as different
Right.
rewards rather than
Right.
having a universal issue. Well, this character hits you a ton, so they're
Mhm.
gonna have meter up the
Right.
wazoo.
Make their range to get like there's some reward at max meter and it takes them longer to get at max.
Right,
meter,
it's like this
you know?
character gets meter on every knockdown. This
You know,
character gets
right.
meter on every wake up. This
Mhm.
character snowballs, like the sloth. They gain
Mm-hmm.
meter every time they wake up. So
Right. So we could kind of have some system of like you kind of get a little bit of meter passively, but there's ways to get like, or it could be like the only way to get meter is by doing this specific
yeah,
thing. You can't just be like, oh, I'll just punch them a bunch and then I'll get my meter. It's like, no, I'm playing the grappler. I'm gonna have to get grabs or like
right.
knockdowns or something. That's my way to get meter. Whereas my rushdown character is like, I hit you on block or something and that gives me meter, or like, you know, I block attacks and that
Yeah,
gives me
let's
meter.
call this. What should we call this other meter? Because this is where I imagine your burst move lies, right? This is where I imagine your like guard cancel move lies.
Mm-hmm.
Your flawless defense originates.
So remind me of what you're thinking is 1 meter, or are you thinking
2 meters.
2 meters.
One main meter.
And
then
this is unique meter.
And then an additional meter that's like, this is a special resource that you can only use in these specific circumstances.
So are you thinking unique meter is our super meter? And it's our EX meter, and it's...
Yeah. These would be Roman cancels. These would be supers.
This is tension and Street Fighter super meter.
That's tension and street... Or just tension, you could say, because that's supers, right?
Yeah.
So this is tension, and then we kind of have like a burst.
Mm-hmm.
But...
So like more of a defensive option?
Right. My idea is that this one's way more offensive. This one is defensive.
That's good, actually. And I think it should be something where it's not like every character has a burst. It should be like every character has a different type of defensive option, you know? It's I think that's good to make that distinction, because then it's easy to understand. You're like, oh, this is my aggressive offensive option, and this is my defensive option. Okay. And it works differently for each character, you know?
Okay, I'm going to put D meter. Because, I mean, when Strive came out, all burst did was burst.
Right. It's more of a new thing for it to be a new meter, but I like this.
I mean, it also gold bursts, but, you know.
So are we still gonna have it then where this meter, the unique meter, you charge up in a unique way, but the defensive meter you don't charge up in a unique way?
Yeah.
You think?
Or no, I mean, it could be both.
That's what I'm kind of thinking. Like, maybe you get rewarded for like again, it could be like, oh, for the grappler, when you get a grab off, you're gonna get a offensive meter, obviously, because you just did a grab.
Yeah.
And then maybe when you do some kind of defensive thing, like if we ever have like a parry mechanic, or like
this should definitely be the one that builds up slowly over the match,
the defensive meter?
Yeah, the defensive meter.
Yeah.
Just because, I mean, it kind of, like, we've been talking about a very offensive game.
Right.
That feels like it would go fast with the like mobile characters who gain meter in their own special ways and massive amounts for doing what they're supposed to do. Mm-hmm. I definitely feel like the defensive aspect should be like, this is the way you slow down the match. This is like, all right, my turn. I want a turn to fight.
Right. So it's kind of like a timer thing where it's like after.
It's exactly like burst.
You know.
Exactly like
after
burst. This is my combo now.
Right.
Or you can use it like burst and be like, fuck my defense. I'm gonna use it to do this thing.
Or you can use it when you get hit when the first move that hits you. You can use it.
Yeah, you can use it after the first move you get hit by. Yeah. Round start, you get poked or counter hit.
Is that funny? Yeah, so I like the idea of the offensive meter being something you earn, and the defensive meter being something that you wait for.
Yeah.
You be patient with that.
We need to come up with baller casino gambling names.
Right, like Tension's a cool name from Guilty Gear. Tension. So it needs to be a unique name too, where it's like your, you know,
it's your luck.
I was literally gonna say luck.
Luck.
Too, you know, but
your prowess.
Or like something with like how you're like your sleight of hand, like you're cheating. You know, like you're.
Yeah, these are like cheats where it's like you turn the card or you know whatever. Right. We'll come up with these are all going to be part of the process later on. All right,
I think that's good though.
3 meters.
That's good.
Life, D meter, U meter.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So we have that. I mean, we have the ideas here so far. What should we think about next?
Do we want to get in a little bit more in like world building? Because we've kind of established characters and a little bit more into gameplay.
Well, I mean, maybe we've reached our terminus here. Maybe we've reached the end of the initial concept.
We've
kind of hit on everything, huh?
Yeah, because we've got our character out, like, vague archetypes.
Right, we have the idea.
We're waiting to get into
theme.
We have vague, like, prototype, not really, but we have, like, moveset potential ideas in our mind right now for these characters. We haven't obviously made them yet, so like for the character specific episode, we're gonna go in depth with how each of these characters their moves are gonna be like, and then we're also on the gameplay focused one, we're gonna get more in depth in exactly how these meters are gonna work. Oh, this is, you know what I just thought of
what's up?
You're drawing these suits on here, and I kind of had this idea of like we kind of have like
you think are you about to say the same thing I'm thinking now?
Where like
each character is associated with a suit?
Well, yeah, right. In the sense of like we're like, oh, the characters that are in this suit are the ones that have air dashes, or the ones in this suit are the ones that have Like there's kind of like a tool that.
I was thinking about that because there was something you said, and I was like, man, what if this game kind of had that like separation of like you can kind of understand these characters based on this group that they're in.
And we can put in some weird lore reason as to why those characters are grouped.
Yeah,
in that way.
dystopian factions.
You know,
they're like part of they're part of the Diamond
absolutely
Club.
Absolutely.
That's dumb.
But
I think well, yeah, because they're all like signs, right? Like
right.
Diamond is like fire sign or whatever, and Heart is like water sign, and Club is like earth sign, and Spade is like air sign.
And it doesn't even have to necessarily be like, oh, all of the Heart characters, they really like each other. It's like they can necessarily be from like some faction or background. They don't have to like each other.
One issue,
like, you know. Okay.
Oh shit! No, we have 8 characters. 8 characters, 4
suits.
suits.
Oh, you were gonna say dividing by 2, right? Oh, it can be like, oh, why is there only one Spade character, and then you unlock the secret 8th character, and you're like, ah.
So obviously, Greed, he's got to be Ace, right?
Okay. Yeah.
He's got to be Ace.
That makes sense.
Because there's only one of them.
Oh, you're talking about. Oh, wait, right, specific card. You give them a specific card.
No, I'm saying like his character's name is Ace.
Oh, you're naming him right now.
Yeah, I'm naming him right now. His name is Ace.
Really?
Yeah.
As the. Okay.
Yeah, right now.
I thought, you know, it was so weird. My mind went to like, which one of these is Ace again? And I was like, oh wait, that's the card in 1. And then I was like, oh wait, so reset. You want to name him Ace?
Fuck, we could have way more characters, dude.
You think?
Yeah. Totally. We could add more characters down the line. I think we rock with what we have.
I was gonna give this idea where it was like, if you know, it's like you gotta think about the idea of like a fighting game being like DLC/sequel characters. It's like obviously we can't do the 7 deadly sins thing again because there's only 7.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, is each like iteration of new characters like a different like thing? You know, like this is like 7 deadly sins inspired, and then we have like a different inspiration. You know, I mean, we could also.
I mean, they all build on the lore that will eventually make.
Right, but it could also be like, oh, the characters are like, this is the king, this is the queen, this is the jack, this is the
king, queen, jack.
Right.
Yeah.
Ace. But I guess if we're more card themed, but we can still kind of do this idea.
Well, shit, how many characters do we have?
I think 8.
We could assign every single one of them a face card.
Right?
Yeah,
I think that's cool.
I think it's baller.
Yeah, I think sticking with 8 is fine for now. You know?
I mean, we're just tossing ideas.
Right. I mean, there's obviously potential for more characters.
Yeah, all right. Well, I mean, I think we have what we have right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, casino vibes, some gorgeous suits here. I really put my all into making them. Casino vibes, our basic fighting game, right? Like defensive meter, unique meter, 4/5 button fighter. Mm-hmm. I think we kind of have the basic idea laid out. Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, what more do we even have to discuss other than, like, the actual nitty-gritties of, like, gameplay? Right. And
What's
our betting mechanic idea?
That you think that's going to come later?
Where it's like you bet on your match and you...
Yeah, do we want to talk about that, or do we want to...
Well, that feels like a gameplay thing. Like, when we talk about gameplay, that's what we talk about, right? Yeah. And, I mean, what else is there?
We just completely save story.
The name. We need a working title.
True. But, like, for story, do you think we just completely save that for, like, an episode where we...
Well, let's make a working title.
Yeah.
Like a temporary
right.
one.
You did something with, like, the 7-7... Something with 7... Casino... thing,
Jackpot. Let's think of casino words. Jackpot. All in.
Fold...
Texas Hold'em. Straight.
Poker, blackjack.
Flush.
What other gambling?
All in. Big blind. Win big.
Mm-hmm.
$500,000. Dinner with Jay-Z.
Las Vegas. Dinner with Jay-Z.
Crazy 7.
Roulette.
Wild 7. Rumble Roulette. Rumble Roulette is dumb. That's a Them's Fighting Herds type title. Rumble Roulette. Roughhouse Roulette. Rumble Roulette. Fuck, I'm stuck on that one now. Quickly, you gotta get something better than Rumble Roulette.
What do you call like? Snake Eyes. That's a thing. Something with dice. I don't know what else. What other games are there besides like?
You're not beating Rumble Roulette right now. Rumble Roulette is.
Rumble Roulette is the dumbest thing.
I know, it's so stupid.
It's
today. Really bad. But it's the only one that's sticking around.
High Roller. Just listing more terms and just.
What you got?
I said roulette, so I get half of that word.
You're claiming half of it? Alright.
No,
Rumble.
Don't write that down as if it's an idea that
Rumble
we're ever
Roulette.
sticking to.
Well, it's the working title,
Put
so.
in big words next to it, work in progress.
I actually want this in red. Or no. No, I don't. Yes, I do.
The word rumble immediately associates it
It's
with like
so
a
bad.
super awful generic like thing, you know?
Yeah, no, it's
like,
bad.
Rumble is not a word you can use.
No, it is not. It's really bad. Like, if you told me this was an indie game that existed, I'd be like, yeah, that's right.
That's probably dumb. I do like RR as like a logo thing. I don't like the name Rumble Roulette though.
Yeah, we gotta come up with something better than that.
You know?
Something for sure. We gotta do something better than this. Alright, well, I think this is, we've kind of come to the terminus here for the starting concepts behind this fighting game.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should call what we're going to work on next time.
Yeah, what's going to be episode 1 of the in-depth?
Yeah, you think characters?
I think so, because having characters established makes it easier to get into gameplay mechanics specifics, because you kind of understand how the characters are going to play it, and also it helps with story and lore, because now we understand our...
Yeah, and maybe I can also
doing,
find like my original concept and figure out what was in that stuff that I could like... I think I had a name for it that was better.
What of this? Oh, because this theme had already existed.
Right, well, yeah, because this is based off something I already had cooking.
Here's a thing I want to note of titles, too, is... This isn't really something we necessarily need to think about, but having it, like, the shortened version of it, that you call it...
RR?
Well, I'm thinking, like, because think about it, like, we say, oh, Strive, you know?
Strive. Gear.
Or even just Guilty Gear is a short enough name that you could just say, oh, Guilty Gear.
Guilty
Gear.
Gear.
Or you can just say, oh, Street Fighter. You know? You want...
SF6.
Probably...
RR.
2 words.
RR is
or one of the words you can use on its own. And
Yeah.
like, you could say Strive. But also, just Guilty Gear is only 2 words. Street Fighter is 2 words. Mortal Kombat is 2 words. Tekken is only 1 word, but it's, you know.
There's
You know
gotta
what
be
I mean?
something better.
You know what I mean?
There's gotta be something
Then
better.
this, yes, there is something better than Rumble Roulette. You mean...
Sin City wasn't made
think
for you.
Once we've established the world more, it'll probably...
Sin City wasn't made for you. Rah. I can't. Deck.
You know what I just thought of? This is a random little tidbit, but the random select should be a slot machine.
I've come up with that idea before.
Really?
I have.
That's awesome.
No,
dude.
I have. That
That's
was in
so
the original
funny.
thing.
That's so funny.
That was in the original thing.
Well, then it has to be a thing we use because
Yeah,
we
no,
both came up with it on our
that
own.
was in the original thing. Is the character select as
See,
a slot
I want
machine?
fun menu things like that, you know, where it's not just a random button. You go and pull the lever up there, and it just shuffles a bunch of things, and it's like, here you go.
Ding,
like-
ding, ding.
Oh, you got the grappler. Oh, you got the zoner. You're like, oh, I gotta play him.
Yeah, but then now we make an actual RNG. No, that's stupid.
What do you mean?
I hope I get my main.
Oh no, I didn't get 3 in a row. I have to roll again until
Damn
I
it.
actually do.
It's a microtransaction every single time. What's this? I just got a text message from EA.
They want to fund our game.
They want to fund our
They
game.
think it's cool that we're basing it on money, and that microtransactions will make sense in the game.
Yeah. You can legally bet on them. It's part of the video game. You pay for the in-game.
Guys, it's our aesthetic.
You pay for the in-game currency, and you bet on games.
So I'm glad that
It's fucking stupid.
it was established without.
And
us
it's
even-
also a cryptocurrency.
It's free to play, but hey.
This is stupid.
The good players don't have to spend as much, dude.
Imagine if we were dumb. Imagine if we were the kind of tech bros who'd make the what's that Logan Paul thing he got in trouble for? He made like a game with cryptocurrency as like an in-game currency.
Can you imagine some people who are like, they made a really good fighting game, but it's a crypto. It has cryptocurrency built into it.
Wait, it doesn't mind your computer or anything.
No, but, dude, it's a really good fight. Like,
It's a really good fighting game.
And you're like,
but it uses cryptocurrency.
Like the pros love it, but now every pro player is involved with crypto, and you're like, what?
Yeah,
do you mean?
all of them. And it's now being the fighting game currency is now being accepted as a real currency. Some people's day jobs has become betting on the game. They just watch like tournaments and they bet on the tournaments because those are where the most money you can bet is.
Funny. That's so funny. You go to like Walmart and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna pay with my gambling fighting game currency. I'm really good at this fighting game and I can pay for my.
Horrible. It's so bad. It's horrible. This is exactly the kind of thing one of those stupid tech bros are
It's like
trying.
the alternate reality version of this.
Yeah,
game.
it's the we saw into the bad version.
It's a free to play
where we fumble the coolest idea this side of the easiest selling fighting game this side of the Mississippi, and we fumble it with the cryptocurrency.
Oh, that's funny.
We gotta come up with something better than Rumble Roulette.
Yeah, we don't want to finish off with Rumble Roulette. But also, like, a good title is going to be one that takes time to come up with.
That's true. But I came up with a good one. I just don't remember what
really?
it was.
Wasn't it something with sevens?
No, I don't think it was.
Okay.
I don't think it was. It was just something that, like, really
high
worked
rolling,
really well.
Awesome guy.
Gambling, luck of the Irish, liposuction.
Isn't it should be that when you lose, it's like you fold. You know, it's like you fold it or like. Or something with
fold it.
Fold. Yeah, exactly. We gotta have something unique with like I like how Guilty Gear's like dual one, you know, or Street Gear's like round one. You know,
all
it's
in.
be like
yeah, it had
first turn. Or
it
like,
1,000,000% has like an arc sys intro.
Yeah.
Where there's a small monologue and it's like,
no,
ready players.
It's like I said.
And it shows like the 3 Texas Hold'em poker cards. All in.
Well, it's like I said, where there should be like a pregame thing where you're deciding how much you want to bet, and you're in the stage, and your characters are there.
And it's Luigi.
You know,
it's
and
Luigi
then,
from Mario DS.
Yeah, and then once you make the decision, your characters seamlessly just hop up into there, and then
ding ding.
It's a whole thing.
Fight.
Yeah.
Hadouken.
So.
Shoryuken.
Shoryuken. We have like stupid references. Your character just does a Shoryuken.
It's basically what they did in Skullgirls.
Really?
Yeah. Kind of. They did it way better than what we just suggested.
Well, you'd think that.
All right.
I hope that.
Yeah, you would.
I think we leave a stupid title that way. We have opportunity to just be like, let's come up with a better title. You know.
Yeah, I think we leave the dumb one.
You know?
All right.
Like this is not one we're keeping, and we know that. And
well,
we're comfortable
this
with
thing
that,
is gonna get
cool.
way bigger. As the days go by.
Whoa. Oh, that's cool. We're gonna add on to this. That's
yeah,
awesome.
Eventually
That's
it'll be a
awesome.
full thing.
That's awesome.
But this is what we have so far.
I think that's good.
Yeah, this thing's gonna be loaded with images.
I think that's really cool to see our like.
Yeah, it's gonna be
expand
cool.
Out. I like that.
All right. Well, thanks for sitting in on our first episode of this process, documenting our production of a fighting game. We should come up with like a thing to say at the end.
Yeah, we'll have our own unique.
It's like we fold or
yeah, that's like.
See you next week.
See you guys next week.
Or next time, I'll bring.
I'm going all in again.
Or, maybe,